Hi, welcome back, and look what I got on doorstep delivery today. A new microphone. This is a lavalier microphone that I can clip onto my shirt so that I can speak freely without boom arms and sound cards blowing up and stupid game headsets on. I needed to be able to talk freely, easily to read this next chapter, chapter 8, because our hapless heroes are about to be attacked by the Goblin army. Ready? Let's do it. So, here we have chapter 8 from Mr. Gum and the Goblins by Andy Stanton, and this chapter is called Night on Goblin Mountain. As night fell, the travelers were making camp. Polly lit a fire, and Friday found a wild rabbit to cook, which was lucky because he was too tired to cook for himself. Love a bad dad joke, don't you? The rabbit whipped up some omelets while the travelers gazed out over the mountainside into the vast, starry night. Far below, the lights of Lamonic Bibber twinkled welcomingly. The houses looked warm and inviting, and Polly imagined she could hear the happy laughter of children coming from within. In the middle of town, a plume of blue smoke was just visible. It was coming from Martin Laundrette's very secret invention, the Rippletizer 2000. Gazing over the scene, Polly felt tears well up in her eyes, not just because the rabbit was peeling an onion, but because she realized how much she loved Lamonic Bibber, every last bit of it. "I loves that town," she said fiercely, and her heart swelled with pride as she spoke. "It's the best place in the world, and I don't never wants to live nowhere else. That's all I got to say on the subject. The end." "Well said, Friday." "Well said, Polly," said Friday. He himself felt a little homesick for his secret cottage in the woods, and a nice Sunday roast, and sitting on Mrs. Lovely's lap eating yogurts. Don't think I needed that image. Anyway. "Tell you what," he said, taking out a grand piano. "This is the perfect moment for a song. I've got a new one I've been working on. It's called Me and Uncle Radish. Me and Uncle Radish. Well, me and Uncle Radish, we go everywhere together." "Shh," whispered Polly urgently, putting out the fire with a mug of water. "I think I done heard something a-creeping in the bushes." Polly and Friday huddled together, trembling in the darkness. After a minute, the rabbit joined them, twitching his whiskers like a total whirly. And now they could hear strange noises. Strange hisses and creaks and moans. And then they heard a twig snap. Then another snapped. Then another. And then the moon, it did come out from behind a cloud, and in its silvery light the travelers saw the game was up, for they were completely surrounded by goblins, standing there, snapping twigs in their bumpy old hands. "Get them!" commanded Captain Ankles, and at this the goblins advanced, eyes wide and claws glinting wickedly. "The poor rabbit!" cried Polly. "This isn't no place for you, little one," she said, scooping it up in her arms and carrying it to a safe place underneath a bush. You see, that was just the sort of girl Polly was. She always looked out for people smaller than herself, especially if they were rabbits. "Right," said Friday. "Now leave the rest to me." And he reached for his broadsword, the legendary Lord Champion. It was made from the strongest steel known to man, and it shone like a flaming star of justice, and nothing could defeat it in battle, and it was lying on Friday's sofa in his secret cottage next to an empty yogurt pot. "Brummagans!" cried Friday. "Forgot the broadsword!" But then he had an idea. "Get back, you monsters!" he warned, doing a mime as if he were holding a mighty sword after all. "Or taste the blade of my legendary invisible broadsword. transparento, which has slain many, many goblins and trolls, and an elk. The goblins hissed and started to back off, but not Captain Ankles. He wasn't fooled for a moment. Invisible sword, not real, he said. Old bloke just pretending. Look, he's just miming. And then the travelers were done for. The goblins advanced again, and this time there was no stopping them. They threw Polly and Friday into a great big sack and tied it up with dirty magic string you can't escape from unless you're Harry Potter. Then they lifted the sack above their gruesome heads, and back up the mountain they started, hooting and shouting to wake the dead. From beneath the bush, the little rabbit watched the whole terrible scene. I will never forget that brave girl who carried me to safety, its bright green eyes seemed to say. Well, I might, but I will try really hard not to. Polly, whispered Friday hopefully as they were bumped and bundled along in the sack. Are you Harry Potter? No, said Polly. I'm Polly. And that's what I thought, said Friday gloomily. Can you reach the horn? Said Polly. I thinks this might be a good time to summon the spirit of the rainbow. But, try as he might, Friday could not reach it, and with their last hope gone, the prisoners fell silent, each fearing the worst. And on the goblins marched, on and on and on. All night long they marched, until by the time they finally reached Goblin Cave, a gray dawn was breaking over the mountain, and the crows cawed mournfully in the bare trees. Hello, Goblin King! We catched the meddlers! Captain Ankles called out. Shut up! Came a familiar voice. I'm trying to watch Bag of Sticks! If you don't know about Bag of Sticks, you can look on Andy Stanton's website. It's there. It's the most fantastic show you can imagine. Check it out. There's something familiar about that voice. That familiar voice, thought Polly. But in all the commotion, as she and Friday were carried through the cave, she could not work out what. Halt! She heard Captain Ankles say, and then Oink Balloon ripped open the sack with his claws, and the travelers were face to face with the Goblin King himself. You flippin' hasslers! Spat the Goblin King, coming so close that Polly could smell his meaty old breath. Don't you know I'm the best 'cause I'm so powerful and handsome? And suddenly, Polly realized the dreadful truth. Fry me in vegetable oil and call me a giant bag of crisps, she thought to herself. The Goblin King is Mr. Gum! And there's Billy William. He's probably calling himself the Burger Wizard or something, I expect. End